The Garden Old Show, 7 o'clock, no inside info, no contacts, no problem. I am Big Papa East reporting live from Captain Black's Fishing Studio, Georgia, which is about 30% complete. Don't have my camera, don't have my mic, don't have my lights, don't have my microphone, don't have my decorations, but I do have me, and I am here.
You have you, and you are very, very echoey and loud today. So everybody, that's just what we're going to have to deal with tonight. Not every week. We don't come every week hitting the standard, much like a team that we all follow. We don't hit the standard every week. Most weeks that we do, though. Captain John Black, thank you so much for sponsoring us, as you have for years. And as a quick side note, I think it's a good idea right now that we announce that we've got a new sponsor to the show, specifically for our game day tailgate. We would like to welcome right now the Palace Saloon, everyone. The Palace Saloon is the official Garnet and Old game day tailgate sponsor. If you hung out at the tailgate this past weekend, first of all, thank you for coming. But you were also welcomed by quite a few beverages, courtesy of the Palace Saloon. So everyone, if you have the opportunity to frequent the saloon, or maybe not even frequent, maybe you're going to go by every now and then. When you go there and you pick up, or when you go to have a drink, find the owners and say, hey, thanks for sponsoring Garnet and Old. We have a love for that show, and we thank you for sponsoring the show.
Vince, does my audio sound any better? Am I still loud?
No, it sounds like you are actually about 800 meters away in the cave now.
Well, how about this? Better?
Yes, I like it.
All right, perfect. So, little adjusting the settings on my Mac. The next 2 weeks, Vince, I will be in Mount Dora with my normal setup, and in 3 weeks, I'll be here with my normal setup. So this is the last time we will have subpar Papa East. I should put that as my tag in the show. One thing I do want to point out, as fall has struck Georgia, it is currently 65 degrees outside. The low tonight is 57. The first one of the season for me. You see what that is, Vince?
Is that a gummy, a mood gummy?
No, that is a
pumpkin. A pumpkin.
Yeah, the corn. What do you call them? The candy.
Yeah.
Candy corn. The pumpkin's only one.
Yeah.
So first one of the season. Now I'm a big candy corn fan. I know that's a controversial take. Some people hate them. Candy corns are my fall treat.
Well, good for you. I know you're going to be really excited when you finally have gotten yourself into a singular home that you can outfit the way you want. You can actually stay there. So I know that's been a struggle for you guys going back and forth to Georgia trying to get the house ready. You know what else was a struggle? Was that Miami game. And before we get into that, I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching us on YouTube, first of all, thank you. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, grab the link, share it out in your socials. And if you're watching from X, we love that too. We absolutely love it. You get a lot more interaction with the show if you watch it from the YouTube side. So hop on over there to YouTube. We are going to give away 5 memberships tonight, regardless of the goal that you see on the screen. We're going to give them out no matter what, but I would like to hit the goal tonight. You guys have been very generous to us, and we appreciate that. So toward the end of the show today, we will give away 5 memberships to Garnet and Old.
Perfect. Now, before we get started on Miami, do you want to bring in our guest?
Yeah, absolutely. We can bring in the guest. Why don't you fire up the the engines.
I'm gonna fire up the engines, and we're gonna do it right now. I'm gonna call it Peter Parker. You actually have a little Peter Parker vibe to you. Has anyone ever told you that? Like in general, you could play Peter Parker.
Yes, been given that nickname many times in many different contexts. As early as playing basketball, as a kid who wasn't supposed to be able to jump as high or run as fast, I was called Spider-Man, Peter
I love
Parker
it.
a lot. But yeah, I'm probably a little tall for the character. Um, Probably can't slide down to the 5'9" that Marvel likes to take their Spider-Man actors at, but
Yeah,
yeah, I love
Parker.
it.
Parker, what are you about 6'4"?
That's a little ambitious. No, I'm probably a generous 6'1".
Okay. Spider-Man, nonetheless, we're going to get to the actual math here. The math is mathing on a couple of plays. But just in general, we're going to talk about the Miami game, and then we'll get to the specifics about some plays. One in particular that everybody is kind of up in arms about since the game. But let's just kind of go around the room here to start. Parker, was there anything from the game that like you, yeah, I know you probably understood that there was a chance, maybe even a decent chance that Florida State would lose the game. But was there anything that's like, man, I didn't see that coming?
Um, Not really. Maybe the turnovers, but those are always kind of unpredictable. You can't really predict turnovers, and um, those definitely hurt, especially when they're on first down.
Mm-hmm.
There were two of those in this game. Those are significantly harmful against expected points added, which is this kind of like a wins above replacement type
Mm-hmm.
metric. If you're a baseball fan, it's kind of it's a good measurement for how valuable plays are that don't result in points. And the Chroma fumble near midfield was a big one, and then at the beginning of the second half, the deep shot to Squirrel White that got intercepted. That was also a big one. So I feel like turnovers are more impactful than other plays. Um,
Yeah.
I'm sure people who are online had a lot of issues with the 4th and 8 that wasn't converted, and albeit that was a turnover. So I mean, that directly plays into what I was talking about. But I feel like Danny Cannell had a good argument against that, saying, or I don't think I considered it good, but it was a loud opinion that a lot of people saw, and he basically said that if Florida State punts right here, I don't know how that's going to impact the rest of the game. Maybe it goes a little differently. I respect that opinion. I get that. I get where he's coming from, but I would say that the three turnovers are more impactful than just one play where you could have punted for potentially as low as 21 yards of field
Yeah.
position. And I would have expected someone who had three turnovers and the big three losses in his career would have understood that, and maybe that played a little bit of a part into why they didn't go to the championship game
Yeah.
those years, but that's just my opinion. So
No.
I would probably come at it that direction instead of a this one play in the second quarter where Miami still had to go 50 yards on their resulting possession to, have more of an impact on the
Yeah.
quick lead that Miami took in the game.
Now, Vince,
What do
we
you?
can't play any of these clips. I just want to let you know that because of
No, I know. I absolutely know that. Yeah, we're not going to get a copyright strike here. I just got the image up there. We're not actually going to play the game. But Ryan, what do you think in terms of? Is there anything that just like, wow, that's something that I didn't see coming, or
yeah.
um,
I the whole game. Um, and it's two different opposite ways. I didn't see us literally completely stalling, not scoring any points in the first part of the game. Just like, man, we're screwed. But then juxtapose that with I did not see us even making it a fight near the end where you're like, is Cristobal really about to Cristobal this thing? Um, Bizarre passing plays for Cristobal instead of just running the ball and draining the clock. So it's both. It's I'm just surprised because I felt like, well, surely if we are sucking to high heaven, which we were, this is probably just going to continue. This game's probably going to end something like 35-10 or something like that. Like that's the feeling I had when we were down 23. But then you're like, well, what the hell? Then I know it's the game's. People said, well, I heard Cameron talk about like, well, the game's over at that point. I mean, if we had converted that onside kick, we have a chance to win the game.
The worst onside kicks I think I've ever seen in my life, except for
terrible.
Except for the one where we missed the ball.
But the most important thing is that I disagree with Cameron where it's like, hey, it was just in garbage. It was starting to get tight where even I was like, God, we have a chance. Like,
listen,
we didn't think it was going to be an unrecovered onside kick. It's rare, yes, but not impossible. And I'm telling you, if you get that onside kick, I mean, we are like, what? If Cristobal blows this, oh my God, this is one of the worst losses Miami's ever taken. But yeah. I was disgusted by the first half of the game. Absolutely disgusted. But the first turnover, I have a big problem with. The second, I don't.
So let me just say that there's a lot of talk out there about the fourth quarter being garbage time, and it was not. Miami's got all their starters still in the game, or the predominant amount of starters are still in the game. And, for whatever reason, that's true. Florida State, starts to hit some things that were actually available all game long. And if you've watched the press conference for Miami's defensive coordinator, he actually says that. There were things there, they just weren't hitting them. So, the offense didn't do what it needed to do for the first three quarters of the game. And after we kicked the field goal on the first drive, I turned to Shannon and I said, we don't need to be getting 3, we need to be getting 7. And that's true. I mean, that's not like oh my gosh, that's such an epiphany. But little did I know that we wouldn't even sniff scoring for quite a long time after that, right? And if you go, did you watch Doc Staples' breakdown of the offense?
No, to be honest with you, but I could tell you, I'm going to guess what he saw. So a lot of misreads because we had guys open.
Yeah. So and he caught a lot of flack for this. And in our fan base, there's a lot of people out there that are pretty extreme. And you get a game like this where we're down 28-3. And by the way, Ryan, did you go to bed then? Because you texted me and said, I'm going to bed.
No, that's me. That's me, Josh.
Yeah, it's you being angry.
So
okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
Saying I'm about to go to bed.
I sent that, or I showed that to Shannon. I said, Ryan's done. He's going to bed. But he caught a lot of flack because it looks like an overwhelmingly, from a scoreboard perspective, you see 28-3 and you assume that complete dominance has happened. Okay. And I'm that way too. But then if you actually take the time to go back and watch the video that he did a breakdown, and he's got the all 22, and he shows oftentimes where the O-line is actually winning the a good enough amount of time to totally squash the idea that the line was dominated. Okay. And then you look and you see Tommy missing, basically missing checkdowns or missing the right guy he should throw to, and maybe trying to get too greedy, maybe trying to play a little too much hero ball. I don't know. There was a couple times where I think his height did him a major disservice with not being able to see the receivers cutting across the middle. But our buddy Riz P, who was at the game, by the way, I didn't get a chance to see him, but congratulations, Riz P. You guys won the game. I think Miami is a better team than Florida State.
They're going to be in the playoffs deep.
But make no mistake about it. that was not a dominant victory. Florida State played pretty poorly when situations mattered from the offensive side of the ball for a good portion of that game. So, what do you think,
Defense, though,
Parker?
I thought played pretty well.
I remember seeing the team stats at halftime, and Florida State had outgained Miami, so I felt going into the second half there's a good chance to make it close, even if they weren't going to win. I still feel like Miami was the better team. That's why I
Yeah,
had them probably winning the game. I think I told Shannon before the game, but I was pleased with how the team played. I mean, I was impressed, especially with the comeback in the second half and the fourth quarter. I also agree that it wasn't really garbage time, though I don't think it's a knock on Miami to kind of take the foot off the gas and just get to the finish line. I feel like their offensive coordinator understood what they could do in the first half and maybe settled a little bit in the second half just to get it to the end of the game. And I don't feel like that's a horrible strategy. I feel like that's what Florida State fans complained about in the Miami game, actually, was that they were moving too quick and they wanted to get it to the end of the game quicker. So I can see both arguments, but I don't think it was like unheard of for them to like run the ball so much in the second half, even though Florida State was kind of taking that away. And then at the end of the game, they got a little more aggressive and passed a little bit more just to give them those, bigger knockout punch opportunities. So I feel like both sides played it pretty well from a strategy perspective. So I don't feel like there was anything that atrocious or shocking from the end of the game or anything that would be like kind of like Miami giving the game away. I feel like there was just opportunity for Florida State the whole game, like you were saying, and they played a little cleaner, though it was more of a passive, don't let anything go over your head for Miami too in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and
yeah,
Vince, I do want to make sure I emphasize, like underline, emphasize. I was was it 17 plays on that one drive?
yeah.
And so people can be mad. Like the one interception, terrible interception directly to the team. The other one, it was just a late thrown ball. It was actually open over the top. So I don't hate that play. It was just a poor throw. But with those kind of plays, yeah, sure, his arm talent um, or his timing was off, but the decision that was open was correct. So I always have less problems when those are picked off than just egregious. I'm trying to, I'm just going to throw this.
Yeah.
But with those turnovers comes, in my opinion, like some of the most courageous and earned long drives when everything in last year's team would have given up at halftime. That game would have
Sure.
been a nightmare in the second half. And so you had a team that, despite the overwhelming evidence that they would likely lose this game, still go play each and every play like it was the last play of the game, and we're going to try to win this. I mean, I liked Tommy in the second, just his heart. You could tell he really wanted this, and he really was trying everything to keep like the whole team was just not giving up. And I love that mentality. The problem we run into, we're going to get into this week, I know in a second, is if you lose another game, especially the next one, Mike's done. Sorry. Uh,
Yeah, we'll
even
get
if,
into that.
yeah,
We'll get
but
into
I'm
that.
not going to get into that yet. But what I'm saying is that I would have given you one of these. The Miami one, the Miami loss would have given. If this exact loss had happened exactly this way and we had beaten Virginia, a whole different conversation. But you've now shown 2 games in a row that you cannot operate when um, the Virginia game a little bit different because it's expected that you're going to score. It's expected that you should win that game. You don't. And this game again, slow starts, turnovers, 2 games in a row. When you start seeing those signs, that can be a habit of getting slow starts, and it can't happen. So that's what I'm worried about coming off this game is not that them losing the team. I don't think that would happen with this group of guys. I'm more just worried that some bad habits of forcing the ball and getting down early are not ones that you want to get used to.
Yeah. I would say I'm not worried. I mean, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and we're going to talk about the Norvell thing here in a little bit. But just to hone in specifically, Parker, because I want to make sure we get your expertise. And we got to remind everybody, Parker Rawlin, this is what he does for a living. Okay, he does analytics. He's a professional at this, and he's highly involved in this this area with Championship Analytics is the name of the company he's with. But this particular play, the 4th and 8 play, as an aside, you can throw this pick here, but you don't necessarily have to let him, get 30 yards after the pick. But whatever on that. But Parker, tell me about what you think or what the analytics say about going for it here.
Yeah, sure. In this spot, teams have historically converted about 40% of the time. You also want to factor in the probability of a field goal, which how much you like Weinberg is kind of going to tilt that, but here it's not a guarantee no matter who the kicker is. It could be Justin Tucker, Cam Little, Brandon Aubrey. You're not guaranteed to make kicks from 58, 60 yards out. So then your other option you're thinking about is, do you punt? Do you punt for potentially as low as 21 yards of field position where they haven't shown proficiency in this area of the field from their punt game? And you also want to factor in, how guaranteed are you to get the ball back from this spot? Miami had already driven for a touchdown on the drive before this. They had converted to 4th down, so they had shown that they were able to move the ball. So you have to kind of weigh all of these factors. And when Championship Analytics does that, we get it down to a number. Like I've said before, we can't really comment on who are clients, so I don't know who Florida State uses or what person they have on staff that helps make these decisions, but this was probably within their range, and they made this decision prior to the 4th down. So when people, kind of look up at the scoreboard and they're like, we got to go for this, or we need to punt it here, like the decision's been made on 1st or 2nd down, how far out they're going to go for this 4th down. And that's something to keep in mind when you look at the 3rd down play call as well. I don't remember what it was here, but they also, they had a good chance to convert this play. They've historically, under Norvell's tenure, been above average at 4th and long conversions. So, they converted a 4th and 8 later in this game anyway. If you want to complain about the result of the play and say that they're probably not going to convert anyway, they literally did later in the game on that rollout throw back to Pittman in the middle of the field when they needed to go for it on 4th down. And you also, another thing I didn't mention was that if you do go for it, it's not like you're setting the opponent up in field goal range at this spot in the field. Of course, the outcome is not ideal, but you don't make decisions based on the result of the play. You're not clairvoyant. You're not going to use outcome bias. You have to make the decision before the play, and that's what had this as a go. So I would support this decision. Looking back on it, I would do it again. I would hope the coaches do it again and not shy away from decisions like this moving forward. But of course, they gave up the interception. They still had a chance to get a stop on the resulting possession. But Miami had a good play call with, you want to talk about Florida State having like a gimmicky offense, and they rip out the flea flicker right after this, and it goes bombs over Baghdad. A great play call. Hats off. But yeah, it's funny how it worked out for them. But yeah, I didn't have any problem with this, and of course, the result's not going to always line up with the intention.
All the folks out there that are my age or older are always complaining about this stuff, but pretty much only when they don't make the 4th down. About, why don't we punt the ball? We should be punting the ball. We should kick the field goal. We should punt the ball. That's not the way football is played anymore. And the end result of going for it, you have a better chance by going for it here. You are increasing your odds to win the game. Okay, and obviously it didn't work out. But I will say, Ryan, I think you said this play was open, right? This play was open. The throw was late, and Tommy's mechanics in the last in the last game and a half, his mechanics have been,
Uncle Rico.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, uh, he's not the end all beat all in terms of mechanics in general. Okay, but there's just been a hop, skip, and a throw, and a slide to my right, pirouette, slingshot
Yeah, he's
stuff.
trying to do the Patrick
It's
Mahomes stuff, the sidearm ball.
and I guess sometimes it works out, but when you couple that with the fact that he's already got problems seeing over the line, I think he has to rely more on the mechanics. There's been multiple times, and again, I encourage people to go watch Doc Staples' review of the offensive plays. Whatever you think about him, whatever you think about what his ideas are from that, whatever. But I want you just to go watch it and you make your own opinions. There is all kind of opportunity throughout this game for Tommy to step up in the pocket or to slide a little bit to the left or to the right. And I think he did that in the Bama game a little bit more than he's doing it now. Like there's been a regression when it comes to that. I think he's kind of regressing to more of a hero kind of ball thing. So anyway,
can I bring up the moment of the game for me though?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Curb Street. Man, what if you look at this? They were looking away. They weren't ready for the snap. Come on, man. Like,
yeah.
Well, State's run that play like twice, 3 times this year, where the look of silence and snap, and
they're all looking to the side.
In no way would anyone, if that was really a mess up, Curb Street, and I can't imagine he's this dumb. If you're looking to the sideline, the ball snap, it goes over the shoulder. Clearly, he was ready for the snap. The whole team was. I still don't understand how it's possible that someone with Curb Street watching football every weekend could possibly think that was anything other than just a look on a play.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want to talk about Kirk here briefly in a moment, but let's get to this super chat. We are $10 here from our buddy Captain John Black, FSU, March Chiefs all the damn time, 1000C. Always the show. John, thank you so much as usual. And we are, only $90 away from the goal, by the way. We'll be giving away 5 memberships to the show before the show is done. Back to the Kirk thing. I think I mentioned in our pregame show that there was a young girl at the ACC huddle game day thing that had a sign that said, "Kirk is a coward." And she also had a hat on that said "Kirk sucks." By the way, a young kid. They basically confiscated her sign. They did not want, and it was on TV. And when they saw it, they went and grabbed it from her. So somebody's getting his feelings hurt. And you know what? You kind of got to let that go, Kirk. You earned it, and you just kind of live with it. Parker, tell us your thoughts on, you already kind of alluded to it a little bit, but when I saw you after the game, one of the things I said to you was, Cristobal tried to outdo himself today by throwing the ball late in the game instead of running the ball. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so this is just in terms of the last 4-minute offense, play call strategy, not in terms of the 4th and 8 they had at the end of the game.
Yeah, this is them. I can't remember what down it was, but
it was second down. He's throwing the ball.
So in my opinion, run the ball, burn clock, right? So go ahead.
Yeah. I think, like I said before, there are good arguments on both sides. The intent, of course, is to move the ball and pick up first downs to drain the clock and maintain possession to not let your opponent touch the ball. I think sometimes there's a little bit of a nuance in that, because if you just run the ball, Florida State had shown that they were capable of stopping the run, so you kind of have to keep them honest by passing a little bit. So personally, I don't have an issue with it. In fact, that's kind of what loses teams games sometimes, is by taking their foot all the way off the gas. if people paid attention to the 49ers and Rams game last Thursday, there was a little bit of that where the 49ers had the ball up 3 in the last minute and ran it all 3 times. Just had no chance at moving the chains. They got 1-0 yards every time, punted the ball back to the Rams, and they easily drove into field goal range to send the game into overtime. So I know in this game, the complaint is going to be because of how it ended up that they could have run more clock. And while I guess that's technically true, they were also not guaranteed to pick up a first down and sustain their drives to chew more clock after that. So I feel like they did a good job overall. I still felt like it was a heavy run mix. So that was kind of my stance. I would also wanted to go back to that fourth down where Castellanos threw the interceptions that we just finished talking about. I feel
Yeah.
like Miami deserves credit too for how they played that, knowing Florida State's tendencies on sideline checks. And I think if you watch that play again, the defensive line, specifically Bain, deserves a lot of credit for staying forward on that snap, while the secondary did kind of check off to the side, including the boundary side safety that did fake coming down, then look off to the side. So he kind of gave away that he was coming down into the cover 3 drop and he was taking one of the intermediate zones. So Castellanos kind of had that implication pre-snap that the ball was going to go up the boundary side seam, as opposed to, I think it was Boggs on the other side, which is what Fitzgerald took away. And I think he also deserves a lot of credit for making that play because he had to kind of cover a lot of ground, just like you would see Kyle Hamilton make plays against Florida State in that Notre Dame game opener a couple years ago. If you guys remember that, I think he had like 3 interceptions. But anyway, I kind of wanted to give credit to Miami's defensive backfield because those safeties played really, really good and helped lock down Florida State's offense. So I think it was Fitzgerald and Jacoby Thomas that both played out of their mind. So anyway, back to what your original question was about the Miami run pass mix. I feel like, yeah, you can kind of complain about a second down play specifically being a pass. You would really only want to see passes, I guess, on third down plays when it's, a high leverage situation. But I still personally wouldn't have a problem with it, and I don't think CAI would, nail them too much for that because up until that point they did have a strong run mix, specifically in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I don't, like you said, you want to give Miami credit, and our buddy here, Rock and Rant, by the way, Rock and Rant, thank you for the super chat. FSU can still run the table. ACC chaos is still possible. Hey, you have a little more optimism than me, Rock. Congratulations on the game. And by the way, thank you for coming on our show last week too. Miami deserves the credit. Like I said from the very beginning, I think Miami is definitely the better team this season. And we'll get to why in a little bit here, Ryan. But my whole point of kind of rehashing this is kind of go against the prevailing narrative that this game was like Florida State didn't deserve to be on the field, right? That's simply not the case. If you go back and watch the game again and you watch it from different angles than maybe the TV copy. So there are options out there to do that. If you care, you may just care that we win or whether we lose. But I like to know. I like to know why. I like to know like how close were we on this or that. Miami deserves the credit for doing what they needed to do to win this game. So, is there anything else, Parker, that from a games standpoint you think was something that we needed to talk about, or something that maybe people are not looking at in terms of an analytics side?
There are a couple things that probably went under the radar a little bit. Florida State's early onside kick was something that specifically people in my section were yelling about, and there are going to be a lot of things that I hear throughout the game that I really have to bite my tongue. But that was one of them because you are not guaranteed another 3 possessions from that point. So you have to You don't have to, but you are justified in taking those risks to steal a possession. So I didn't have a problem with that. It makes sense. The field goal down 9 was really, really good. That's perfect strategy. If with a little more time, like if there's a minute or more on the clock, then you can afford early down end zone shots, but you generally want to kick that field goal early to give yourself
Mm-hmm.
more time for that last drive Hail Mary
Yeah.
type scenario. So they did
Yeah.
those two really well. And the Miami 4th and 8 was also really well handled by them, even if Cristobal didn't like it as much. He kind of hinted that he was frustrated with that decision in the post game interview he had, but they really did handle that pretty well because it was a safe short pass to their guy who really went off. That receiver had
Yeah.
an amazing game. That guy's going to be
Yeah.
tough to play the
Yeah.
next couple years. I'm not looking forward to it, but they handled that pretty well. It was just Beck got someone in his face really quick, which forced an early lofty throw, but I feel like they had a good chance to convert there. And I feel like that's the right play. We talked about that after the game. It's the right decision to go for it there because a field goal is only, I mean, it's still leaving you vulnerable to trailing
Yeah.
after 2 touchdowns, and Florida State really wasn't hard pressed to get to the end zone on that final drive. So
Yeah.
it's a risk worth taking, especially when you're not guaranteed to get that field
Yeah.
goal from, don't remember, 47 yards maybe.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it would have been 40-yard field goal at the end of that. So their kicker's been really good this year, but that's always not guaranteed. So that's just something to consider
Yeah.
when you make those decisions. But yeah, that's all I had from
I
a strategy standpoint.
I had I actually really loved the calls of the onside kick. I just didn't like the performance of the onside kicks. I don't love the. I know I've seen a lot of teams do the sideway ball. Um, it can be successful. It's meant to, instead of the old days of like popping up in the air, it's meant to, kind of have it bobble in your hands when you try to get your hands on it. So I mean I've seen it plenty in other teams in the NFL, but it just wasn't executed well, and it kind of goes back to like you mix that with punts, and I'm just like, I'm looking at you, Papuchis, as far as coaching that up. But I think we pretty well covered all bases of the Miami game.
Yeah, for sure. Parker, do you want to do you want to offer up where people can find you?
Not really anywhere. I kind of
Not
fly under
really.
the radar. Yeah, I don't have a
Yeah, I
big
didn't think
presence.
so. I didn't think so, but I wanted to offer it up at least. If you, by the way, anybody that is watching the show, if you have some questions for Parker, you can float them to Ryan or me, and we can get them to him, and he can answer that that
Make it
way.
sound like a drug dealer of information.
Yeah, we're the middleman here. We're it's like,
Yeah.
hey, you want to buy an S,
Yeah.
But yeah, we can get the questions to him if you really want to get into the nitty gritty about the numbers and analytics and what have you. But Parker, we're gonna play you out here, right, Ryan?
We sure are, Parker. It's been a pleasure. Always good to have you on the show, and we appreciate you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
See you, Parker. That's I like that people. I like for people to think that was like a WrestleMania moment, like, oh my God, it's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Rohan from the top right. Rohan is not here. I wish he
No,
was.
no, Doug's not here. He does need to come back on the show, though. He came by the tailgate last weekend, and we had a great
Yeah.
time. But yeah, Parker cracks me up. I was like, Parker, you want people to know where to find you? He's like, nah, not really.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm actually good.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Let's talk about this weekend, Ryan. Let's talk about Mike Norvell. Let's talk about this weekend.
All right. I'm gonna go big picture here, Vince.
Yep.
If Florida State were to lose, and I'm not picking them to lose, so I just want to make that clear. I'll give my score at the end of the conversation. So I'm picking Florida State to win this game. I'm no longer picking Florida State blowouts. But if Florida State loses this game, That would be 1-9 in conference play the last 10 games. And at Florida State University, it can't happen. Now, do I think it's even possible? Absolutely not. No, Mike Norvell will not get fired if we lose to Pitt right after Pitt. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I believe if we lose to Pitt, Mike Norvell's eventual downfall is inevitable. You can't. We can give you a pass to Miami. We would have anyways. Hell, if you had lost to Bama and then Miami, and we had the same record right now, but you had beaten Virginia, we'd probably be having a different conversation. But a game you were supposed to win, Virginia. Okay. And if you were to lose to Pitt, I'm just saying at that point, I'm out on Mike Norvell. Fully out. Because close, two flat passes away from, well, we didn't win those games. We didn't win hardly any games last year. And 1-10 in the ACC, everyone's talking about let's go to the SEC or Big Ten. Well, 1-10 in the ACC ain't getting it done. And at that point, I'd be pretty much saying, all right, dead man walking.
Yeah, well, we have no problems beating SEC teams, though, by the way. We do that like clockwork. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, and I've said this for years now. Mike seems to be a really great guy, and he's got the right heart. He's like the right kind of culture guy. He's the kind of guy that, if things were going well, you would just be like, yeah, he's the exact right fit for this school, right? He's got that culture mentality. He cares about the players. It's more than just about the game. It's about the university. It's about the program. It's about the fans. He has this complete, overarching vision about his role and how. And I truly believe that he counts his blessings in being in this position. And in those kind of things, it reminds me of how Bobby understood the whole thing, right? But, you can't, that's all well and good, but you cannot continue to, stub your toe, week in and week out when you have the resources at your disposal. And, it's not just us. I mean, most of the outlets out there have been bemoaning the recruiting side of his program. Mm-hmm. And, Mike is a good recruiter. He's not an elite recruiter. He's not a dog recruiter. And that's okay, whatever. But who on his staff is? And
I would say there's one. Tony White's probably the best of them. With defensive line coaches that can.
Yeah, but you say that, but where's the evidence of that? And I know it's his first season here, and I get that, but we have this climb, 2022, 2023, we kind of hit the mountaintop. Someone kicks us in the jimmy, and we get the snub. Last year's a complete disaster, and you're starting over again. And then you revamp the staff. You go out and you bring in guys that love football, and they're football players, and they're all about doing the right thing and being a team and all these things that we love about this team. By the way, you brought it up already. They did not give up in that game, and I don't think they will give up. And this new staff, and you have this momentum for that, and you go and beat Bama, and you dominate Bama. There was no way Bama was winning that game, okay? Then you have a couple cupcakes, and then you go and you do what you did against Virginia. It's it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. They're the same players that dominated Alabama.
That's what I was going to say, Vince. It's the last two games. It's been clear to me that we have not our players that we have right now on our team. I think under different coaching would be getting more out of those last two games.
Yeah, I don't know about that because I think Gus Malzahn is, his record speaks for itself, right? And Tony White, up and comer, like his resume speaks for itself. Whether you like the 3-3-5 or not,
the defense played fine this week.
The defense played fine. They gave up some chunk plays. We allowed for that. Like, you allowed for that. I allowed for that. Say they're going to give up some chunk plays because of the way you got to play this game.
And Miami's talented.
Right. And but then you've got, one game, the Virginia game, where the defense looks absolutely abysmal. Not abysmal, but like not fundamentally sound. And then you got the very next week where the offense can't seem to catch a break for whatever reason, because Tommy is, not seeing the field correctly. He's trying to do too much. I don't know what those things are, but that's what I'm kind of saying is Mike's the constant through this. And I want it to work out so badly. And I still do. I still want it to work out because, like I said from the very beginning of this rant, he's the type of guy that if things turn around and things start going well, I love having him as the head of this program. Like for everything, not just the wins, like everything about the way he deals with the culture. But if you can't win the games that you're supposed to win, man, and you can't recruit, there is no reason, Ryan, none. There is no reason why Florida State should not have a top 10 recruiting class every year.
Yeah, both
every year.
And high school.
Every year.
Mm-hmm.
That is the piece that has, it's like, we've got this car and we've got four tires on our car, and each one of them is at a different tread depth, right?
Yeah, we need an alignment.
And it's like, we need an alignment. And then we go to the tire store and we're like, yeah, we really can't afford to get all four brand new tires. Let's just get the worst. Let's fix the worst tire only, right? And by the way, I used to do this in my younger years when I didn't have the finances. You just kind of keep the car running, right? You've got to keep it running. And it's like they never seem to hit, even when things should be hitting, even when you finish a season 13-1. What in the world, man? That's kind of my point. The lifeblood of your program is not the portal. You go back and watch any shows of ours from years ago, and while we were happy with what Mike was doing in the portal, we both said at that time, the portal cannot be the way you do year in and year out consistent excellence from your team. It cannot work that way.
Yep.
You have to bring in people from the high school level and you have to develop them. We cannot continue, and we are in this mode again now. And that's why, this weekend, even if we win this weekend, I am going to predict us to win this weekend. Even if we win this weekend, that is of no consequence to me when we go out to Stanford on October 18th for a 10:30 kick. I'm not going to have any confidence about that game. We've already seen this team step all over themselves going on the road. And then Wake Forest, homecoming, November 1st, I'm going to be there marching with the alumni chiefs. Normally a homecoming game is like, hey, this is a gimme.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. we're going to have a good time. And, thanks for being the opponent. But I'm not going to have a lot of confidence to win that game. Clemson, an away game. Again, Clemson is not great. They've shown more than cracks in the armor. They are average to below average at best this season. But, we haven't won a game on the road, so we'll see how that goes. Virginia Tech, they got an interim coach right now, right? Who knows on that one? And then you go to NC State for a Friday night tilt.
Likely loss.
A likely loss there. So my buddy Rock and Rant, I appreciate you saying there's an opportunity to run the table. There's not enough consistency of hitting the standard. The standard is the standard. The standard is the standard. And you are the coach of this team. You are the CEO of this team. The standard is the standard.
Yep.
They're not hitting the standard. Who do you, and I know all you can do as a coach is go to practice every day and try to get better. I know that. And you do what you can do. You try to seize the day, win the day, win the day, win the day, win the day. And then hopefully when Saturday comes up, you win that day. But, what's the record now? 20-22 in the conference?
If this was any other school, we'd be saying, oh, that guy's done.
Yeah. Yeah. This is Florida State, man. This is Florida State.
The recruiting thing was never so obvious that you could watch the Miami Florida State game in the microcosm and say they've recruited better than us from high school.
For sure.
And I can see it on the field. So when I had two people text me, one in the second, one in the third, and said, "Look, what the hell? Like, what's our problem? Is it like, what do you think's going on?" And I replied to both of them, "Miami is better."
Yeah.
That was my
Miami is a more talented and deeper and stable program right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a rival that's doing that, it sucks. It absolutely sucks, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
They recruit circles around Florida State. That shouldn't happen. It just absolutely should not happen.
And I hate to say it, Vince, you'll disagree with me on this. And I don't think it will happen as far as the end result. But if Mike Rebell gets fired at the end of this year, which is not impossible, I think even you agree with that. Depending, we don't know the result of the year, but it would have to be pretty bad. But it's not impossible. Tell you what, Jimbo Fisher's going to get an interview.
You can miss me with that.
Vince, if you don't think he's going to get an interview, he lives in Tallahassee. He's doing everything to kiss the ass of everyone at Florida State for the last 4 or 5 months. His agent is Mr. Sexton himself. I am telling you, just look at his PR tour with heavy reliance on talking Florida State players and Florida State this and Dalvin Cook on the kickoff show and people chanting his name. I'm telling you, he will get an interview, and I wouldn't put it at 0% chance that he comes back. Now, do I want that? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. I'm indifferent. I'm completely indifferent to it. I think there's better candidates than Jimbo Fisher, but I'm telling you, he would get an interview. He lives in Tallahassee again. He is on the market, and they could get him probably for a discount because he's not like a hot commodity right now. It's not impossible. And one thing, and we can both agree on this, Vince, my man recruits better than any head coach that we get, probably.
I've seen that circus, and you're right. And you're right, Ryan. Michael Alford, I have no doubt, is going to, look and look at everything because that's what he's supposed to do. By the way, if you have not seen the podcast of Stephen Ponder called In the Box, the first episode came out a couple days ago, and Alford was the guest. It's really great. You should watch it. So yeah, maybe they talk or whatever, but man, you cannot go back in time. There's a lot. Yeah. Who? Bobby Petrino?
There are other teams that have. What's his name? Michigan head coach. That was not anymore, but
Yeah, I understand. I understand that people have done that, but
Pete Carroll,
I don't know, man.
Chip Kelly.
I would not have a good feeling about that. I would have a good feeling, by the way, if we hit our super goal for tonight. Which reminds me, let me go ahead and give these memberships away right now before I forget. Hold on one second.
Daniel, and I do want to cover for Daniel Gorby. I'm not saying he gets the job. In fact, you just made my point in the last one. If Jimbo gets an interview, it will just be a courtesy interview. Yes, potentially. Sexton is his agent. Mike Norvell's agent is Sexton. Jimbo lives in Tallahassee. Mike lives in Tallahassee. Mike gets fired. Jimbo will get an interview. If nothing else, to see what there is to talk about. I'm telling you, and Vince, I told you this 3 months ago. Jimbo has been on a PR war to get a head coaching job again. And he's come off kinder and sweeter than the man has ever come off. And that's intentional. That is not his natural persona around media. He is PR ruining the hell out of this thing. He just got chanted by Florida State fans at Joe Campbell on Saturday.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
For PR and him rebuilding his how things ended here does matter to him. I promise you that.
If you guys are watching the show on X, head on over to YouTube right now just to watch the show there, because I'm going to give away 5 memberships to the show for free. We're trying to hit our super goal tonight, but I'm going to give them away anyway. Here we go. 5 memberships available right now.
As part of the free membership, Vince, tomorrow, sometime around the afternoon, I will be releasing the Dabo Sweeney song that Garnet and Old has produced.
You should have done for Pitt.
I'm going to be there's not a lot of punching bag material for Pitt, but for Dabo, there is a fantastic song that we have created here at Garnet and Old, all about our favorite coach in South Carolina, Mr. Dabo Sweeney. It has heart to it. It has laughs. It makes me laugh every time I listen to it. And I will release it for the first week on our members in our YouTube channel.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. New members.
You love this song, Vince.
I do. It was very funny. Amethyst Pisces, welcome to your membership. FSU Gnome got a membership. Congratulations. Brother Malzoni with the membership. Steven Vasquez gets a membership to Garnet and Old. And Baby Wants Bling. Baby Wants Bling gets a membership to Garnet and Old. What does that mean, Ryan? A membership to Garnet and Old. What does that mean?
It means that you get emojis, custom emojis that you'll see in your chat right now on YouTube. It means that if you follow Vince or I on X, and we will follow you back, and you can chat us on X. And it means that we will give preferential treatment when you post comments on our show while we're live on the show, as well as members only content on YouTube. A la the Dabo Sweeney song that will go live later today. And Vince, in the event that Jimbo Fisher ever finds his way back to Tallahassee, I do have a Jimbo Fisher song
ready to go. Is it about Christmas trees?
There might be a line in there. We are working on a kind of compilation album of parody songs for our college football love, and we'll be by the end of the season. I want to do one track at a time for our members each week, but by the end of the year, we'll have a full album. And Vince, I'm going to launch that album.
Yeah, and I've heard all the news about the EP
on Spotify, Apple Music. We're going to license that. We own the music.
We own the music.
So get ready, guys. The Garnet and Old Christmas special. Get the EP. We haven't come up with the name of the album yet, but it's coming.
the Garnet and Old Christmas album is going to be titled "Christmas Tree on the Curb." If you want to look, if you want to know what one of the custom Garnet and Old emojis looks like, Don Capes put one in the chat there. That's our "Send Chiefs All the Damn Time" emoji. So if you're wondering what some of those look like, that's one there. Ryan, why don't we shout out some people in the comments? We haven't done that yet tonight.
Yeah, shout out to Daniel Gorby, always Kenny Trill. Thanks for watching. Of course, we have our friend Captain John Black, always live in the chat. Rock and Ray, who was on our show just last week. We ought to do his show. So Rock and Ray, if you ever want to have us come on the Miami Hurricanes channel, we're welcome to come on board. Suzanne DeJour, DC Lysol, Don Capes. I think I got most of the usuals aside from the members that you just shouted out. So thank you guys for watching. The membership is always available to you, but I also want to thank the Palace Saloon in Tallahassee, Florida, our newest sponsor of our College Game Day live show for home games. The Palace Saloon is a wonderful local Tallahassee bar just right next to Joe Campbell Stadium, and it is owned by someone that we both really appreciate. I won't say his name because I want to ask him if it's okay, but we know the owners. They're good people. Next time you're in Tallahassee and you want somewhere to pregame, steps away from Joe Campbell, go do your pregaming at the Palace Saloon.
Absolutely. Mahi Griller, just want to make sure we get this out there. Noon games suck. So let's put that up there.
The older I get, I actually quite have enjoyed them.
The benefit of a noon game for me is that the outlay of cash in the last 6 weeks with games, going to games, whether it's Florida State games or Georgia Southern games, by the way. Georgia Southern is playing right now, actually, on ESPN. Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of going to Statesboro, going to Tally. But noon games, I'll take it because that means that I don't have to get a hotel room.
Absolutely. And
so that's a big change.
Bed on time.
Yeah. So what's your prediction for this weekend, Ryan?
Florida State 28, Pitt 21. Very easy score. Nothing crazy. I think Florida State wins the game. I think we're all uncomfortable at halftime. I do think we'll score more than 3 points in the first half for a rousing, maybe at 14 in the first half. Now, I do think that this team will be streaky throughout the year. I think there'll be some games where we're up, 21 points at halftime. And I think there's going to be some games where we're really frustrated. I think that's just this offense. But I think the only way that we lose this game is if the wheels really do start to kind of fall off and we see some more penalties, more bad, kind of not focused, not locked in behavior. But I don't see that in this team, but it's not impossible. We have to wait and see. But 28-21.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's been tricky for me. I'm probably gonna say 31-28.
Yeah,
Florida State. I don't have a lot of confidence in right now either side of the ball locking it down, being locked in. So, but I do think being at home matters, and I do think the crowd matters as much as a crowd can matter for a noon game after you've lost to your rival. We'll see how that goes. Speaking of, Ryan, we will not be doing the typical tailgate because it is a noon game. We are going to be, getting into town and going immediately to Skull Session. I'll be streaming Skull Session again, and that show is already scheduled. So if you want to look on our channel, you can see it there. If you're not going to be in Tallahassee this weekend and you want to watch the Chiefs do their pregame warm-up, that is going to start at 9:45. Yeah, 9:45. So you can lock into that.
You need to watch Chiefs all the damn time if we don't send them all the damn time.
Yeah, watch Chiefs all the damn time. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm good, Ryan. I'm good. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Captain John Black. Thank you to the Palace Saloon. Thank you to everybody that contributes to the show. with comments, with super chats, with just being here. We really appreciate it week in and week out.
Everyone, Garden, no inside info, no contacts, no problem, and go Noles.
Go Noles. Send Chiefs all the damn time.